Hey friends, Damian Mason coming at you today to discuss the importance of agriculture as national security. That's right, I'd like you to share this video with your friends, agricultural and non-agricultural alike, so that they can understand a bit of perspective from someone that's grown up within the world's most important industry, that is food production. You know, military is the most important component to national security, to being able to defend your borders, to protect what you have. When you're a wealthy country like the United States of America with a great deal of resources, other countries would like to have. So what do you need? You need a thriving and vibrant and dominant military. But after that, what do we need to keep our country humming along, to have national security as well as a vibrant economy? Well, frankly, you need the next three things after military. You need food, fuel, and infrastructure. Did you hear what I said? Food, fuel, and infrastructure. So while the celebrities can put out their videos from Hollywood on Instagram where they're singing Give Peace a Chance or John Lennon's Imagine, those imbeciles actually maybe should take a history class. For instance, I learned in history that the United States of America never really won a war. We merely outproduced the competition. We didn't have better generals than Germany or a more dominant navy than the imperial forces of Japan. We merely outproduced the competition. Our infrastructure stayed intact. Our highways, our roads, our ports, our railroads were not blown up, with the exception of Pearl Harbor, which of course was tragic. We protected the rest of our country. And by doing so, while other countries, the Axis powers such as Germany and Japan, being torn up through attacks, we were able to outproduce the competition. You see, there's very much national security tied to our ability to stay productive. How do you stay productive? Well, you keep your people fed. The most important thing after the military, I would say, is food, a thriving agricultural industry. When you do not control your food, you obviously cannot be strong for long because, as they used to say, control the food, control the people. Then, of course, you need fuel to power along an economy, to transport people, to keep your army and your navy and your fighting forces fueled. You need your own energy. Gosh, the United States of America had that. Then because of regulatory policies, because of the same imbecilic idea that sends a celebrity onto Instagram to sing a world peace song, the same sort of idea happened in Washington, D.C. Why would we ever need all this fuel? We're going to save the world through our green initiatives. But what we'll really do is just import our energy supply from places like Saudi Arabia or Russia. Yes, our adversary. Doesn't make a lot of sense now, does it? Remember, from a historical perspective, when you are held over the barrel, the oil barrel, you're not very strong now, are you? Because eventually you will not be able to be mobile. You need food, you need fuel, and you need infrastructure. A couple of months ago, out of Washington, D.C., an infrastructure plan was proposed. Do you remember that? But it wasn't really about infrastructure at all. It wasn't going to address bridges, ports, the locks on the Mississippi River, the infrastructure of the interstate highway, modeled after Germany's Autobahn, by the way, because back then our government was smart enough to realize the value of such things as infrastructure, real infrastructure, not social giveaway programs labeled infrastructure. And we constructed the most amazing thing on the planet, the interstate highway system. And look at how it still serves us today, although it could use a little infusion of cash and improvement. If you want to have a strong and secure nation, you must have behind the military food, abundant food, fuel, and infrastructure. Where can agriculture help? Food and fuel. There's a new diesel on the horizon. Renewable diesel made with soybeans. Guess what? We're going to plant 90 million acres of soybeans this spring in the United States of America. Helps our fuel independence. And what about food? Well, we are the most agriculturally productive country on the planet. We have only 330 million citizens to feed, and we produce enough food for about 1 billion, which means we are an export country because we have so much abundance. And it keeps us strong because when you go to the grocery store, there are groceries on the shelves. What is the threat to this? Well, let's say things like regulation. Environmentalists pushing regulation, or an out-of-touch political base in Washington, D.C. that doesn't understand that the three components to national security that come after the military are food, fuel, and infrastructure. I'm Damian Mason. I talk about issues impacting the world and our own economy as as it comes from the perspective of agriculture all over North America. I've written the 2 books that are behind my shoulders. I produce the Business of Agriculture podcast. You can find me at DamianMason.com. I encourage you to share this with everybody that cares about our country's national security as they look out there and they see what is happening in Ukraine. Why do you think Russia is invading Ukraine? Because they want a few more acres of timber? No. Russia is already the largest country on the planet. Even after the Soviet Union's demise, Russia is still, by leaps and bounds, the largest geographical country on the planet. They want Ukraine because Ukraine is a large nation that has a tremendous amount of agricultural productivity. One of my friends in ag said, Ukraine is like Indiana, Illinois, and Iowa got together and had a baby. Imagine the natural resource wealth, the topsoils, the climatological ability to be in the top 5 corn and wheat producing countries on earth. That is the Ukraine. They also have ports, valuable ports, and a river system. Infrastructure. And of course, they have fuel. More gas, more oil. Because nobody in Russia and Ukraine right now is proclaiming that we've got to get rid of pipelines because after all, we should have more solar panels like the ones made in China that are about 70% of the global solar panels manufacturing base. No, Russia wants Ukraine because of the exact things that I've just said outline national security and make a country strong. Food, fuel, and infrastructure. Do not let the America that we all know and love get pissed away by ridiculous, nonsensical regulatory environment and green dreams when right now there are threats in this world. I don't care how many imbeciles go on Instagram from their Hollywood chalet and sing peace songs by John Lennon. The reality is we need a military and we need food, fuel, and infrastructure. Agriculture can help on 2 of those fronts as long as we're allowed to. I'm Damian Mason. Thanks for checking in.